next person I'm about to bring in, next person I'm about to bring up is not only a friend, but a partner, a colleague, a coach with, man. I consider him a brother. I get to call him a big brother because he's older than me, but we have a great relationship. And again, it came down to, are we aligned and going in the same direction as life, right? Like, we might want to do different things, but our mindset's the same. Does that make sense? Like, we have different things we want in life, but we headed in the same direction. That makes sense? I feel it's very important to do life with people who are trying to go to places you're trying to go. You can help each other do that. All right, so did we mix it up? Did we mix it up? Did we mix it up? I don't know. Mix it up. I guess all high school and shot together. Mix it up. Y'all four, mix it up. Mix it up. Yeah, sit around different people you didn't know before. Come up here too. The front's a good spot to be at. I'll teach you a lesson right now. When you get into school, you should probably sit in the front row. All right, this next guy, man, he's had the pleasure of playing in the same county. A lot of you guys have. You play sports. All right, he played at Lakewood High School, was a standout, was able to take that and play at the collegiate level, played at the University of Florida, played for the Gators. All right, then had an opportunity to go play in the league. Since his time in the league, he's come back, and he's poured into our community in multiple ways, primarily giving back to the youth through coaching and through other nonprofit programs, while dabbling in other business things, and I'm just going to let him go through that. But just a journey that really highlights the idea of being bent sometimes, but not broken, and making those decisions to push forward. So without further ado, my brother, my friend, our next speaker, y'all give it up for Mr. Julian Riley.
What's up, guys?
It's cool when he wears a jacket like this because it looks slick, you know what I'm saying? If I wore it, it'd look like a garden, so I don't wear a jacket like this.
Oh man, no, I love Josh, right? So, question. All right, I'm gonna do something I think y'all will like this. So, what was the main topic about? Because I honestly don't see nobody, and I don't know if y'all are even in positions, but normally when you come in to hear people speak, you want to kind of have a little notepad or something like that where you could jot and take notes or whatever. Some pretty successful people told me that a note taker is a moneymaker. You get what I mean? Because you might always pick up little different nuggets from different people that might know a little bit more information about you, or know a little bit more information than you, and you want to be able to, look at that information when you aren't in front of them or whatever. But anyways, the main subject that the last speaker talked about was what? Accountability. Accountability. Because you said it first and the loudest or whatever, I got something for you.
Accountability.
There you go. Yes, sir. And then, does anybody want to go over their accountability, something that they were accountable? Okay, Mr. Ortiz was the first one. And you're gonna not be that cap. Hey, y'all, let me know if you cap.
Just so that I was accountability before was when I had got in trouble, I wanted to blame it on my little sister, but I just wasn't the right thing. So took accountability for all that moment. It was me instead of her. I lied.
Okay. Can you be? What happened to you after you took accountability for that? What was the consequence?
I was in trouble, and my sister wasn't in trouble, but it was like better to see that I was in trouble than she was in trouble.
That's what's up. I appreciate that story. There you go, dog. There you go. But no, just a little icebreaker, man, to kind of get in the room. Speaking of accountability, so if we're being real accountable, because I really don't like to do speeches and speak in front of people and like have to use notes and different things like that, to be honest with you. I like to be more prepared. But being accountable, Josh did tell me about, this event, right? But I didn't know, and he told me that we had a discussion about speaking, but I just thought we had a discussion. I didn't know that I was, so normally I like to be prepared. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, right? So the 5 Ps, if you live by those things or whatever, you will always, be prepared and be ready to be successful at whatever you do or whatever. So I like to be properly prepared, so that way I'm not like having to look at my phone and stuff like that and do an eloquent job like the gentleman did before me and not having to like use notes and things like that. But with that being said, that's my disclaimer. So I will be kind of looking at my phone from time to time to kind of go through you know, my process and give you guys kind of like, you know, my speech and everything. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to just thank everybody, thank Josh, he's not in here or whatever, that, you know, put this together. And, you know, just kind of a little story about myself. So, you know, my name is Julian Riley. You know, I'm a St. Pete native. As Josh said, I went to Lakewood High School. You know, I'm coaching at P Park now. You know, so I got love for the other high schools and stuff like that. But, you know, I got a special place in my heart for Lakewood, Hollywood High. You know, we produce probably the greatest athletes, you know what I mean, that come out of Pinellas County, no cap, right? And, but yeah, but anyways, man, coming out of high school, you know, went to Lakewood, was an all-star. I was like top 100 players in the nation coming out of high school. And then, you know, you the man, you know, everything. So my whole entire life, all I thought about was, man, just like most of you guys, you got, you know, hoop dreams or football dreams. You know, I'm like, man, I'm going to the league, you know, and that's pretty much going to be my path. And then in high school, like I said, dominated at that level, you know, was all state, all conference, all, you know, everything, you know, very, very highly recruited, could have gone anywhere that I wanted to go. And then, so I decided to go, you know, to the University of Florida, because I was like, hey man, this is like the best, you know, they were real good, you know, Spurrier had just left, you know, on a high road, you know, it's the Gators, you know, the Gator Nation, it's the whole, you know, the whole nine, like everybody, you know, kind of sees it now, but I could have gone to Georgia, could have went to Miami. Back when I was in high school, USC was popping, you know, could have gone there, you know, could have gone to Wisconsin, all of these different places, right? But decided to go to Florida. And you know, you coming out of high school, you the man. You like, man, I'm this, that, and the third. I could do anything. But I think the year that I signed with Florida, we had the #1 recruiting class in the nation, right? So mind you, I'm top 100 players in the nation, but I was the lowest ranked recruit in our class, right? So adversity comes, right? You like, man, you come and you playing with legends. You playing with guys that are like, you know, future first round picks. You know, everybody's good. You know, I mean, you go from being probably the best player on your team, best player in the county, right? Nobody's better than you. Yeah. You killing everybody, and then you go there, you're just a guy. You know, and I remember a crazy thing when I was being recruited. I remember the coach of Boston College, when I committed to Florida, their defensive coordinator flew down the next day to try to get me to decommit. And was like, Julian, like, you're the highest recruit on our board. And I didn't believe him. I didn't know what he was talking about, because I'm like, bro, you must not have been watching my film. You know, I'm the guy. I'm the best, you know, that ever did it. You know, I really thought like that back then, right? And he was like, man, Julian, you go to Florida, you're just gonna be another guy. He was like, you come here, you'll be a big fish in a small pond. Didn't believe that, right? But I got there and it was darn near everything he said. You know, and then so it was a lot of adversity at first, because of course you go from being the top dog to just a guy, and then everybody's good. So the little edge that you had, just being, you know, kind of bigger, stronger, faster, everybody's big, everybody's strong, everybody's fast. A lot of them are bigger, stronger, and faster, right? So it's like, how are you going to compete? But eventually you figure it out, right? You figure it out. So, you know, overcame some adversity, redshirted my freshman year. And then really was about to probably transfer schools, but then our coach got fired, and then Urban Meyer came in. You know, Urban Meyer, I'm sure you guys probably heard of him. One of the, probably other than Nick Saban, the best coach or whatever, top 5 greatest coaches in college football. But anyways, he came, you know, to UF, and it really gave us a new lease on life, you know what I mean, because we were able to compete. You know, I was able to finally, you know, compete and earn some playing time, right? Fast forward after that, my mom had a heart attack. You know, they had, and then the doctors, she has something called systemic lupus, right? It's an autoimmune disease. It's kind of like HIV, but it's not like it's STD, but it works kind of like the same way where you lose your white blood cell count, and then, you know, when you lose your white blood cells, help fight off infections in your body. So if you have a 0 white blood cell count, you can get a cold and die because your body don't have the what it needs to fight off the infections. So my mom had like a 1% white blood cell count. They had given her like 6 months to live. She had a heart attack. You know, I'm depressed in college. I'm going through all of these things. I'm like, man, my mom's about to die. I ain't playing. you know, I just want to be, you know, closer to home. So I ended up, to reaching back out to one of my old coaches, Jim Levitt, who was the coach at USF at the time. And, you know, just a great guy, you know what I mean? And he gave me an opportunity, you know, and I was able to transfer to, you know, University of South Florida. I was able to get a hardship waiver, and I was able to finish my last two years of eligibility or whatever at USF. But again, adversity, right? Because when I transferred to USF coming from Florida, man, I was that guy. You know, everything was cool. Like I'm thinking like I'm about to come in and start. I'm about to come in and, you know, everything is about to be great, right? So, but one thing you also have to learn, man, about people. Because when I was at Florida, one of the things that we were real big on brotherhood. So like things we said in the locker room and things like that, we didn't go back and tell coaches those things, or we didn't, you know, you thinking those things are sacred because these are your brothers, right? So when I transferred, a lot of the guys, especially because I was getting a lot of love from the coaches and things like that, you know, they would ask me a bunch of questions and things like that. Long story short, some of the guys had asked me what I thought the biggest difference between USF and Florida was, right? And I just gave them my honest opinion, my honest answers. And but you know, they went and told those things to the coaches, right? And at that point, it was a bunch of adversity, because essentially, you know, what I said was that, you know, essentially our coaches at UF were way better. You know, I mean, I you know, just based off of what I saw, I was just like, yeah, it seems like our coaches are way better. I didn't know if they took that to heart, went back and told the coaches, but pretty much after that, my time at South Florida was full of adversity, right? Because you know, at this point, all of the coaches on the staff are like, oh, this transfer thinks that he, you know, well, all right, well, you know, you barely played there, I'm gonna make you, you know, so they just, you know, I went from like starting on the depth chart to getting put on scout team, and then I had to like do things like not let them get a playoff in practice just so I can get, you know, put back onto the, you know, because just mentally, you know, testing you and different things like that. But, you know, but anyways, like I said, it worked out, you know, got playing time and things like that. I ended up, and Josh said, like, you know, made it to the NFL. I always put an asterisk like that because I don't really feel like I made it. Like I feel like BJ made it to the NFL. I got picked up practice squad or whatever. Or mini camp. I got picked up mini camp. Was really a camp body is what they call them or whatever. And I had a gentleman the year I got picked up by the name of Tank Tyler. That was a first round pick, and we played the same position. So you could imagine by the end of that camp, you know, who was getting all of the reps and all of that other stuff. So, but I did play a level of professional ball. I played a few years arena ball. I played for the Orlando Predators for a year. I played for the Tri-Cities Fever in Washington State for a year. And then I got picked up by the Hamilton Tiger Cats CFL team, but then injured. And with American players, they're only allowed to keep a certain amount of American players on the roster. And so I got cut, right? So just imagine being from you guys' age and younger, right? And the only thing you ever thought that you would ever do in life was play football, right? So everything that I've ever done from when I was 5 years old was telling me that I'm about to be this football star. I went to college, was highly recruited, you know, played in college, had fun, got to experience this thing, played with legends. All my homeboys is millionaires and first round picks and everything like that. And you're exposed to all of these things, right? All your guys, right? And then of course playing ball at that level, you get everything. Like you getting into all the clubs for free. You're getting perks for free. You're going to the mall, and people, especially at UF, everywhere we went, we're getting discounts, or they're giving you perks as a player, right? So you even your classes. I had a tutor for every single class in college. I had I didn't pick my schedule, right? They picked everything for me, and then we just kind of did everything. So imagine your whole entire life being catered to, right? You are getting special privileges everywhere you go, right? And then all of a sudden, abruptly, it just stops. You get cut, you get hurt, you never get a call back or anything like that. You know, I mean, imagine how that may feel, right? you know, and it feels real bad. You know what I mean? Like I had suicidal thoughts, like because the only thing I ever was good at really in life was football. That's the only thing I ever was good at. That's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And when other people thought, oh, you need to have a plan B or you need to do anything like that, I was like, I didn't go to college to get a degree. Like the degree kind of came out of it. I went to college to go to the league. I went to college to go take care of my family, right? But that wasn't God's plan, right? So, and for whatever reason, I'm not gonna necessarily say it was also not God's plan, but it was also, I have to look myself in the mirror. When I look back and I think about like the work ethic that I had in high school, right? I would wake up early. I was doing extra work. I was doing extra push-ups, extra sit-ups, extra calf raises, running miles and things like that. When I got to college, then I figured I made it. You know, girls went from calling me fat and ugly to fine and sexy, right? Literally darn near overnight, right? You know, literally. So I'm like, I thought I had made it. I thought I was the man, right? So my work ethic did change, right? I went from, you know, being probably one of the hardest working people on the team to just a person that got by, right? I just did enough to get through the workout or because we worked hard. So that's enough. But it was the extra stuff before that got me the results that I was looking for. But then all of a sudden I wasn't doing anything extra again in college. But then I was also expecting to get to this higher plateau in life, right? So I had to also afterward, you know, do some self-evaluation and be like, well, Julian, you're the reason why you didn't go, right? Because you could have handled these situations differently, right? But anyways, you know, we serve a good God, right? And so, you know, no matter what your path is or wherever it takes you, you know, God is always going to open up doors and give you opportunities, right? So even though I went through a depression, right, I was able to reinvent myself. I was able to reinvent myself and to figure out, okay, well, what do you like to do, right? What do you enjoy doing, right? I love pouring into young people. So God gave me opportunities to, you know, coach football now, right? You know, and one of the things that I've been able to do to kind of, you know, make money, right, is put programs together in different cities that help, you know, youth and young people with entrepreneurship, with job training and skill training, right? I partnered and we were able to open up schools, right? And you know, and now we're actually, you know, able to teach people, you know, and we're able to put different curriculums together for people that, you know, are struggling with school or don't necessarily do school in a good way. And God's been able to take my passions and the things that I would always wanted to do and the things that the reason I really wanted to make it to the league, right, was to be able to have the resources to help people, right? But so, you know, even though I went through a lot of adversity, and I would, like anybody has, right? You know, you feel like you make it to the mountaintop and you make it to the summit, and then all of a sudden, man, that stuff, you know, either gets taken away from either your doing or it's just not your plan, right? Because even if you did work hard, right, NFL is only 1% of guys that make it, right? It's only 1%. So you got to think it's millions of high school kids all over, right? Millions. And then I want to say it's 32 of them that get drafted in the first round, right? And then there's seven rounds. So I mean, that's what, like maybe 300 or something like that people a year that get drafted out of millions. You get what I mean? Like there's a top 25 in the AP poll. That's the top 25 best teams and all of those teams have 100 players, right? So even if you just took the top 25 teams and did it with the amount of teams that get drafted, that's still maybe 2-3%, right? It's still a super duper low number, right? So the odds of you actually being able to make it and have a career, right? Man, those odds are probably less than 1%. It's almost like hitting the lottery or getting struck by lightning, right? Or getting struck by lightning twice are the odds of being able to like make it and sustain it, right? So that's why, you know, it's big to be able to overcome adversity, you know, and I feel like, you know, that's one of the main things is like really trying to have to reinvent yourself and come up with new ways so that you can be productive and be successful, right? And if I could stress anything to you guys, right, is I'd say choose your hard, right? Because a lot of times we think that life is supposed to be easy, right? They told us that. Now, even though when you talk to people, they say life is hard, right? Life is hard, but we also want it to be easy. I had a coach, Coach Murray, used to always talk about the human element. He said the human element is the reason why people, lose, right, in life, is because I think it's the natural human proclivity to be lazy, right? It's in us to want to take the easy route and things like that, right? But nothing really in life easy is worth it. If you think about everything that you've ever done, you got to sacrifice, right? Christ sacrificed his life in order to, be able to, so that we can live and be able to have a relationship with God, right? Your mama had to go through sacrifice 9 months of no partying, whatever, drinking, the whole nine in order to develop a good baby or whatever like that, so that you guys could be here. I think, so what I've learned is everything in life that's worth anything is going to require struggle and is going to require sacrifice, right? So if anything that you do is going to require struggle and going to require sacrifice, then why not struggle and sacrifice in the right ways so that you can be productive, so that you can get the best outcomes in life that you're looking for. So for example, right, when I say choose your heart, who thinks that it's hard to go to prison? Raise your hands if you think it's hard to go to prison, right? Okay, it's hard, right? How many people think it's hard to get an A out of a class? It's hard to get an A out of a class, right? Is it not?
She don't like her.
You got to do the work. It's probably equally as hard, right, to get an A out of a class than it is to not get an A out of a class, right, and go to prison, right? Because going to jail, it sucks, guys. Just if we being fully transparent, fully honest, right? Personally, I personally had to. We talking about accountability. So last year in February, I got a DUI, right? Now, do I think I was deserving of the DUI? No, I wasn't, right? But, this America, guys, so you driving while black and you speeding, you get what I mean? You're gonna get, caught, right? I did drink. Was I drunk? No. But did I drink and was I breaking the law? Yeah. So I refused the breathalyzer, ended up, of course I beat the case, threw some money at it, right? Was on misdemeanor probation, right? Misdemeanor probation and violated my probation, right, guys? I should have probably spent a couple of days in jail, right? But for some reason, the judge was like, nah, Mr. Riley, you can't, you didn't show that we already had you on probation and you violated, right? So therefore, she sentenced me to 60 days in jail, guys, right? 60 days. And I got to learn so much from that experience, right? Because I'm in there with people that really should be in there, right? And I'm like, man, I got a misdemeanor traffic violation, right? Yep. Because I was speeding, going after the club, going to trying to meet up with some female, right? No account, and I had a girlfriend, right? You know what I mean? And I no accountability, because if I'd have been going where I was supposed to go or doing what I was supposed to do, I wouldn't have been able to do that, right? But anyways, fast forward going through that experience, man, I got the experience. Man, that thing is hard because they treat you like a criminal, and it don't matter how successful I made more money than the guards, right? Do my thing, very successful in life, like work for myself. Could do what I want, travel, go where I want to do. They don't care about none of that. You're just a number in there, and they don't care. They don't care about you. And that was one of the hardest things mentally that I've ever had to do and go through in my life, right? And I can see why it ruins people, because if I didn't have the money, if I wasn't successful, right, who was going to pay my bills? So you in there and you lose everything because you're not making no money, right? And if you aren't rich or have a family, then you're pretty much just from something, but it was something that dumb from, it was a DUI charge that I beat, right? But then had to, go through that, that experience because you know, of a violation. And if I'm keeping it real with you with the violation, it was smoking weed, right? I wasn't supposed to do it. I was on probation, shouldn't have been doing it at all, right? Did it, right? And they random drug tested me, and I violated my probation, right? So this it's real. It's all about accountability, and I should have known better, right? Because they give you the rules, but I'm thinking that I'm above the rules, and you can't. You know what I mean? If I would have chose my heart, if I would have chose to just be and take the discipline and just chill, because I know I'm on papers, I shouldn't. And I got cocky because they had already drug tested me 3 times, and I passed them all. I was supposed to literally, guys, get off probation that next month. They randomly drug tested me 2 days before I was supposed to randomly report, or before my last reporting date for probation. 2 days before. I had been on 8 months and had stopped smoking, right? But got cocky, oh, it's cool, right? 2 days before, boom, bingo, and then 60 days in jail, right? So it's you don't wanna do it, man. You wanna do, you wanna choose your heart, and sometimes, man, it's like the gentleman said, the right thing. You know what I mean? It's picking the right friends. It's knowing right from wrong. It's knowing if your mama ain't gonna like this situation, right? Y'all know. And the only reason why I'm being fully transparent, because I got some of my players in here, so I really want to pour out to y'all. Like, you know what I mean? You have to do the right thing. You know, doing the right thing all the time, that's what winners do. And if you want to win at life, you need to choose, doing the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is very, very hard, right? But it's also hard chilling in jail. It's also hard when you don't got no money and you can't afford to get no girls or nothing like that, right? So again, choose your heart, guys, because being broke and bummy, that's real hard. You're gonna have to deal with the broken bummy stuff. You ain't gonna get in the club, everybody gonna pass by you, your chick gonna cheat on you, you ain't gonna get no respect, right? But working hard and getting to acquire the things that you need, man, that's hard too. It's hard to get up early in the morning. It's hard to study. It's hard to outwork your opponent every day, right? But those are the keys that are gonna make you successful, right? So again, I'm gonna leave, right? If you heard anything the first speaker talked about accountability, my lesson would be choose your heart, right? Because whether hard right or hard wrong, it's still hard. All right, thank y'all.